Hi, everyone. Dr. Frankie here. Hope you're all having a good day or night, wherever you are in the world. I know that I am tired. We just lost an hour, turned the clocks yesterday. So I am feeling it today. I feel like as I get older, I just feel it more and more. So definitely a little low energy, but I wasn't going to miss the opportunity to be here with y'all. And the topic that I want to cover today is tips for better queer sex, pleasure, safety, and healthy connections. One of the primary stressors for people of all ages, experience levels, relationship status, and genders is how to have better sex. Whether you're concerned about your performance or connecting well with a partner, many of us are looking for more resources to support and improve this part of our life. If you're having queer sex, these questions may feel more complex. You may have had trouble finding an accurate or affirming information out there about queer sex, may feel inexperienced, or may feel anxious about doing it right. Today, I'm going to share some tips on where to start for better queer sex. First, understanding queer sex. If you feel overwhelmed or confused by the prospect of figuring out better queer sex, that may be in part because queer sex itself is such an expansive, shifting category. Whereas general mainstream understanding of straight sex can be very limited. Most people use it strictly to refer to PIV intercourse. Defining what queer sex even is can feel daunting. There are almost no activities in bed that couldn't be included under the umbrella of queer sex. For our purposes today, we can define it as two people of any gender who are trying to sexually stimulate each other. Queer sex could look like penetrating someone with hands or fingers, giving or receiving a strap-on blowjob, anal sex with someone of any gender, an elaborate foreplay scene over the phone or text, muffing, mutual masturbation, a degradation BDSM scene in which everyone's clothes stay on, oral sex that goes on for hours, a fun, giggly, spanking scene that leads to making out, anal or vaginal fisting, two people of any gender taking turns penetrating each other with a dildo. You can see why there's no way to have great queer sex. There's an infinite number of ways to have sex at all. Whereas a limited definition of straight sex might lead one to focus on or in on having the right techniques. When thinking about the kind of queer sex you want to have, it's useful to think about overall frameworks or approaches that will set you up for having the sex you most want and that your partners will most enjoy. Building trust and setting boundaries. Whether you're having sex with an established long-term partner or with a new date you just met, it's important to have some sense of rapport and understanding of both your desires and limitations. The first step is having some kind of conversation or check-in to decide what's on the table and what you're both interested in. If you've been together for 10 years, this might look like texting to ask if you want to have sex when you get home from work. If you've just met, this might look like a conversation in a bar or a cafe where you can talk about your interests and limits, or fill out a yes, no, maybe list together, which if you look back at previous videos, you can see examples of that. It can be helpful to establish trust in other ways too, even for casual encounters. If you and your partner are non-monogamous, it may be helpful to understand the parameters of their relationship and where you fit into them. It can also be helpful to establish any clear limits or boundaries, whether they're sexual limits, like not wanting to be penetrated, or other boundaries, like not wanting to sleep over after, or what you call your body parts. For many of us, it's important to discuss accessibility and any accommodations needed, whether we're disabled or have one of many common conditions that can affect sexual experiences like vaginismus. Exploring pleasure. There's no one guide for having the best, most mind-blowing queer sex because there isn't even a single definition of queer sex. And even if there were, the exact same approach to the exact same activity could feel amazing to one person and terrible to another. Perhaps the only hard and fast rule about good queer sex is that it's very personal to the people who are having it, which means that communicating clearly and openly and listening to what your partner shares is paramount. It also means the quickest way to bad sex is making assumptions based on what you've seen in porn, what feels good to you, what feels good to past partners, things like this, and being too egotistical or proud to ask your partner what they actually want. When having sex with a new partner, especially if you're a top and taking on a more proactive role in sex, it's key to go slowly at first and pay close attention to your partner, staying as attuned to them as possible. Try a specific way of touching or kissing or fingering or spanking them and notice how they react. Try doing the same activity a few different ways and with different rhythms or speeds and see how their reaction changes. Ask your partner to show you how they touch themselves or how they like to be touched. Ask them questions like, do you want this faster? Or asking them if they want you to keep going or switch to a different activity. If they suggest something else or ask for something to feel different, don't get offended or feel insecure. And let your partner know what you like too, where you'd like them to touch you, what you want them to do to you, how much you like what you're doing, and how hot they are. Dirty talk often makes for incredible sex, but even just giving your partner feedback like that feels so good or you look so hot in this position goes a long way. And try not to take their feedback personally. It's really just about asking for what we need and take it as a compliment. Here's a reframe. It's like they're telling you what works for them because they trust you. They know you're capable and able and interested in pleasing them. So it's actually a compliment. It's not a criticism. Although toys aren't required for queer sex, strap-on sex isn't the only way to have lesbian sex, although it's a great one. They're a big draw for many people of all genders. Ask your partner if they have any toys like that they like using or want you to try out, whether it's a vibrator, a dildo, air pressure toy, or something else. Or make a date of going through your toy drawer together. And don't forget the most important sex accessory of all. Guess, folks, come on, lube. The difference between good and great sex can be having enough lubrication for things to feel truly amazing. Health and safety. The best sex is safer sex. And yes, queer people do need to prioritize safer sex, even if there's no risk of pregnancy with your partner. Barrier methods like condoms or gloves are a great option for penetrative sex, even with a dildo or with your hands. If you're using a toy that can't be fully sanitized between partners, you can even throw a condom over the toy before using it on your partner's genitals. Lube is an often forgotten safer sex strategy as well. Well-lubricated sex is much less likely to cause tiny tears or abrasions of your skin that can increase the chance of transmission of STIs. And outside of the bedroom, work to prioritize regular STI testing. Even if you're in a long-term monogamous relationship, use barrier methods or your partners have them, have everybody get tested. It's always helpful to know your status and be able to communicate it to others. Just being responsible, folks, and take care of our health. That's like first and foremost in terms of priorities. So go have lots of sex, be safe, and communicate. And I will see you next week. Kisses, hugs. I'm a hugger. Love you all. Thank you for being here with me.